How's it going, everyone? Welcome. How are you doing today? So I just want to make this a real quick update of the buffs and nerfs that are coming to Path of Exile 2. Don't worry, this is on time. I think they posted this yesterday. So let's get an in-depth review on what's happening with Path of Exile 2 and the latest buffs and nerfs patch coming hopefully soon. All right, let's get it. All right, first off, Path of Exile 2 has been live for just over a week. We've addressed some feedback already and are working on more fixes for key pain points in the upcoming patch. The full patch notes are coming soon, but check out some of the more significant changes coming below. Gameplay features. Like we mentioned last week, we'll be adding capacity to fast travel between checkpoints within an area, as well as adding many more checkpoints to areas. I gotta say, these maps are freaking huge, man. If you're first time playing them and you don't know where the bosses are, if you don't know like a boss is in the area, I know the map shows you, the quest map shows you if there's a boss. But if you're like trekking around trying to find that boss, sometimes you don't find them till like the last little piece that you probably missed. And this is, I think, a definite bonus, a definitely quality of life change that needs to happen because these maps are freaking huge. It takes you about like 30 minutes to try to get it all around and kill these enemies. I mean, at least for my mercenary build, recently just made a witch and I am just wrecking. Can I say that I've been speccing into my minions and to chaos damage? I'm just like melting bosses. Something that I wasn't able to do with my mercenary. It's crazy. It's definitely witches on easy mode, it seems like. And I'm having a blast doing it because, you know, I did all the hard stuff with my mercenary. Now I'm just going back and just crushing things with my witch. All right, we'll also be making passive point respecking cheaper. I still stand by this. I believe they should make it free. I did some respecking on my skill tree and my ascension tree, and good lord, it's expensive if you decide to respec your ascension tree or branch or whatever it is. It's freaking crazy. It's like 3,000 a node. I'm like, I'm broke now. I'm broke. We'll also be making passive point respecking cheaper, especially at higher levels. It had a relatively aggressive curve, getting more expensive with character level. We are flattening that curve so it doesn't exponentially grow so much. This should generally result in approximately 40 to 50% less gold costs for respecing between the start and the middle of endgame progression. Just make it free or make it so cheap. 1 gold per respec. Just make it free. I'm sticking to my guns. Trials of Sekhemas. Players are finding the trial of Sekhemas particularly frustrating in close range, so we reworked how honor damage scales when in close range, as well as fixing an important bug that was causing players to take far too much honor damage for damage over time. Some fixes. Honor damage now scales down based on distance to enemies. When in close range, you'll take 35% less honor damage, tapering off the further away from monsters. Fix a bug where damage over time was dealing thrice as much damage to honor as intended. This and fix a bug where honor resistance was only applying to 2/3 of the damage. This was confusing for us too. Skitter goblins no longer use basic attack, instead now just explode. Says certain clans burrow and ambush attack now has improved visual telegraphing and cannot be used from as far away. That's good, so you don't get freaking mobbed. Volcanoes created by Rattlecage's fissure slam now last half the duration. All right, now we go into the end game and monster balance. Generally, the balance in end game maps was more punishing than intended. So we toned down the damage in a number of ways and disabled a certain on-death effect where telegraphing was not as clear as it should have been. Maps no longer have additional element resistance penalties inherently apply to tier 6 and tier 11 on higher maps. It is now consistent across all of the endgame. I'm not endgame yet, so this is still like new to me. It's kind of probably washed over my head. It's for when I get there, it'll be more understanding. I just got to Act 3 with my mercenary. Like I said in the previous video, I had 4 days without internet. I was trying to run this game on a hotspot with my phone. And can I say, I went to the lowest settings on my PS5 for like graphical fidelity, and I looked like I was playing a 16-bit game, but it worked a little bit. But once like more enemies got on screen, the lag was just horrendous. So I couldn't play the game for like 4 days. So now I'm back on the grind. Chaos damage now also scales less aggressively over the end game. Critical strikes from monsters now deal 40% less bonus damage. Lowered the baseline monster density of breach encounters primarily by reducing the frequency of elite monsters appearing. Disable the volatile crystal modifier. We'll revisit this in the future depending on telegraphing improvements. Purple explosive created by the volatile plant modifiers on rare monsters now deal significantly less damage. I guess people were getting one shot from what I heard. The siphon's flash charges modifier on monsters now drain 10 times less flash charges per second. This was unintentionally draining way too many charges. That's good to know. So you're not losing your mana flask or your health potions. These changes should generally result in an endgame that is much more survivable than before, and we will continue to address problematic cases as they arise. So leveling. Characters and item balance. We made charm modifiers on belts substantially more common and now appear at much lower levels. The symbolism modifier now appears from level 23 onwards, and the inscription modifier now appears from level 64 onwards. Electrocute is now 25% harder to build up, but the damage penalty has been removed from the support gem. That's good. Added a new lightning damage and execute cluster to the passive tree in between the ranger and the monk sections. Add more electrocute clusters. That's cool. It is now more difficult to chain freeze enemies by reducing the amount of freeze buildup applied after a freeze has been applied. Dang, man. You can't be freezing people no more? Well, I guess that's good. I guess people just wrecking havoc. The 100 Talisman, the notable, now grants +1 charm slot. The small passive skills leading up to it now grant the stat it formerly gave. The charm helper text has been updated to indicate that you cannot have more than 3 charm slots unlocked so that we can add more sources of it in the future. Okay. Skill and support gem balance. We're almost done, guys. Since launch, we've unfortunately had to nerf a few skills that were far too overpowered. How do we define overpowered? Basically, it's a situation in which a certain skill is so powerful that players feel no other method of playing the game is viable. Generally speaking, we are trying to do this in a way that doesn't make the build bad, but we can make mistakes. They can make mistakes. They could just undertune it for sure. Ideally, any truly meta shifting changes will only happen at the same time as content patch, which a new league to play in. So like they want like buster builds in like league starts and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that we haven't been looking at the underpowered skills and support gems. We've got a number of changes planned which should improve some of these skills. The full list of changes will be in the patch notes, but here is a sample of what you can expect. Improvements to Rolling Slam. Yes, that something about Rolling Slam never felt cool. Even when I just started playing like a warrior, it just felt weak. I don't know why. The animation was cool, but the outcome was fell flat. Improvements to various bow skills, especially the skills used to generate frenzy charges. Improvements to bone spells and chaos damage over time spells. Ooh, I like that because I'm going to go chaos damage. Improvements to various crossbow skills, especially those at higher tiers. That's good because I feel like I'm just up in like the first 2 sections of my skill sets with my crossbow because I feel like those are most overpowered for what my build is. Improvements to some of the underachieving quarterstaff abilities. That's good if you're a monk player. So alongside all these skill gem improvements, we've also done a pass over the support gems. We've added 2 new supports and removed or lessened the penalties of many others. Notably, the fire, lightning, and cold exposure supports. Added the tremor support gem, which can be used to give up to multiply more aftershocks to skills with a damage penalty. That's pretty cool. So you get more aftershocks on the screen. Added the bidding support gem, which can be used to give more damage to a command skill of the supported minions. Nice. The fire exposure, lightning exposure, and cold exposure support gems no longer penalize damage of support skills. They now have a mana cost multiplier of 120. There also has been notable nerfs to a few of the remaining overachieving skill. Skeletal Arsonist spirit cost now match the other 2 skeleton mages. This should result in slightly decrease the number of arsonists at a higher level. Yeah, because you seen the clips, there's like millions of bombs being thrown. It's crazy. A nerf to the damage over time component on very high levels of tornado and vine arrow. These were never intended to be dealing damage themselves, but more so act as a way for other skills to propagate damage. Magnetic salvo can now only use your stuck lightning arrows as opposed to those created by other party members. Oh, so kind of nerfing that a bit. Can I say I enjoy this game because you could synergize with the people that you play with? Like if someone puts a firewall down and you're shooting an arrow, your arrow is now a fire arrow versus you having to have that skill. Chef's kiss on that. I think that's not enough people are praising that like synergy of this game. As we wind down for the holiday season, we wanted to thank you all for our most successful launch so far. We couldn't have done it without you all and to your support. A lot of our team will begin to take some much needed rest over the next few weeks, but we look forward to getting back in the new year refreshed and ready for an exciting year of development in 2025. Happy holidays, Exiles. All right, guys, so I tried to look for more information on the site, but the site just crashed, so I'm not too sure. So I'm glad I got that off before it crashed, and definitely for the meantime. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think of the changes. They're making some good ones. They're making some quality life changes. They're tuning down things on certain builds, but also bringing other things up. So, which is nice. There's a balance. There's not just nerf, 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 everything's to the ground, then everything is sucking. There is a balance. You nerf something, you bring other things up, as it should be, especially if things are way, way overpowered. I believe that if something's great and working well, you shouldn't nerf it. Bring other things up to it. But if something's like overachieving and that's all the people are playing, you got to bring it down. And last thing, make respecing free. Hashtag make respecing free. I'm going to die on that hill. If you guys love this video, give it a thumbs up. Give a subscribe. I appreciate you guys to pieces. Also, let me know what builds you guys are playing and what class you are enjoying the most. Or if you play multiple classes, tell me which class you are having the most fun with. All right, guys. Love you to pieces. Stay risen, stay rising. Until next time. Peace.